welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. If not, welcome. My name's Ashley, and I'm going to be filming like a library haul pretty much today. Like I said in previous videos, I don't buy books often, especially because I just simply don't have the space for it. However, I am a huge library person, and I have finally gotten comfortable enough to start going to the library to pick up physical books in person. So this is my first haul in over a year, which is wild to think about. But I'm very excited. Most of these books are actually recommendations from my friends just because I fall into books that I'm comfortable with and I leave it there. And I'm trying to branch out more and pick up books that I wouldn't. So I asked on Instagram for book recommendations, and a couple of my friends answered, so I'll put their answers here. But I'm going to be finding out about what these books are about with you guys because I genuinely don't know. Even the titles that are popular, I don't particularly know what the books are about. And then I also rented 2 books that I saw quickly on Goodreads, and I wanted to pick them up. So the first one is by Jacqueline Woodson, and it's Red at the Bone, which this cover is honestly so pretty. My friend Deborah suggested this one, and it says, 2 families from different social classes are joined together by an unexpected pregnancy and the child that it produces. Moving forward and backward in time with the power of poetry and the emotional richness of a narrative 10 times its length, Jacqueline Woodson's extraordinary new novel uncovers the roles that history and community have played in the experiences, decisions, and relationships of these families and the life of this child. As the book opens up in 2001, it's the evening of 16-year-old Melody's coming-of-age ceremony in her grandparents' Brooklyn brownstone. Watched lovingly by her relatives and friends, making her entrance to the soundtrack of Prince, she wears the special custom-made dress. But the event is not without poignancy. 16 years later, that very dress was measured and sewn for a different wearer, Melody's mother, for her own ceremony, a celebration that ultimately never took place. Unfurling the history of Melody's parents and grandparents to show they all arrived at this moment, Woodson considers not only their ambitions and successes, but also the tolls they've paid for striving to overcome expectations and escape the pull of history. As it explores sexual desire and identity, ambition, gentrification, education, class and status, and the life-altering facts of parenthood, Red at the Bone most strikingly looks at and it continues on the back, ways in which young people must so often make long-lasting decisions about their lives even before they have begun to figure out who they are and what they want to be. So that actually sounds amazing. And it's a shorter book, surprisingly, because that sounds very hard-hitting. But it seems to be under 200 pages. So that's going to be really interesting to read. I definitely am huge into family dynamics in books, and it seems like this covers not only that, but generations of family, class, and decision making in terms of young people. So that's gonna be fun. Thank you for the recommendation, Deborah. We also have Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. Also very pretty copy. So this says, for years, rumors of the Marsh Girl have haunted Barkley Cove, a quiet town on the North Carolina coast. So in late 1969, when handsome Chase Andrews is found dead, the locals immediately suspect Kaya Clark, the so-called Marsh Girl. But Kaya is not what they say. Sensitive and intelligent, she has survived for years alone in the marsh that she calls home, finding friends in the gulls and lessons in the sand. Then, the time comes when she yearns to be touched and loved. When 2 young men from town become intrigued by her wild beauty, Kaya opens herself to a new life until the unthinkable happens. Wow. It says later here that it reminds us that we're forever shaped by the children we once were, and that we are all subject to the beautiful and violent secrets that nature keeps. I don't know where this is going, but I am very interested. I also just didn't know that this was a murder mystery, which surprising because this book comes up a lot. But you will see with some of the other books here, I don't pay attention to books that are very popular. I also just don't keep up with new releases either, so I pretty much read as things come up and I find interest in them. So it's nice to have recommendations from other people where I probably wouldn't have picked up this book. I forget who put Where the Crawdads Sing, but I believe it was one of my friends from college as well. They'll all be up on the screen. I think it was Rachel. The Outsiders, which this is a 50th edition, 50th anniversary edition, and I still know nothing about this book. So this is by S.E. Hinton. My friend Melanie suggested this. There is a random post-it in this library book. Apparently Nelson had it at one point. But it says, Ponyboy can count on his brothers and on his friends, but not so much else besides trouble with his socks. A vicious gang of rich kids whose idea of a good time is beating up on greasers like Ponyboy. At least he knows what to expect until the night someone takes things too far. Oh, and apparently because this is the anniversary edition, it has photos and letters and original review clippings. This is also another short book. Oh, there's another post-it. This is covering chapter 1 facts. I know this is like a huge book, always in school, like teachings. There's like these really nice clips in this one. And like I know there's a movie out because I've seen clips of that, but I've never bothered to actually like read the book or watch the film. So this is going to be a really interesting read. Ignore how grown up my nails are. I don't know if I'm going to love it just because if it's set in like a really long ago time, even if it's 50 years ago, which isn't that long, I tend to have a harder time connecting with the characters for one reason or another, but I'm very much so looking forward to it. The next two, so one's a novel, and then one's a graphic novel. So this one is Star Wars Shatterpoint, a Clone Wars novel, and it's by Matthew Stover. My friend Jerry from high school suggested this one, and I very recently got into Star Wars. I'm actually wearing a Mandalorian shirt within like the last couple of years, and I've never read any of the like novels, any of the graphic novels. They've definitely been of interest to me, but I'm the type of person who doesn't click easily with sci-fi. So a lot of the reason I've been able to get into Star Wars now in recent times is because I've been watching it visually. I don't tend to read any level of like sci-fi because it definitely goes over my head. I'm not smart enough for it. But I'll be picking this up. Hopefully I'll be able to understand this easier just because I know a lot of the like context of it, and also I started watching Clone Wars early high school, so hopefully it's easier to grasp. However, a lot of my friends are into Star Wars, and I'm not against asking if I don't know what's going on. I don't really want to know what's going on in this particular book. I want to leave it as a surprise. So I'm just going to put that over there. The next one is Honor Girl, which my friend C suggested, and it's by Maggie Thrash. It's a graphic novel, which I'm very excited about, because I haven't read a graphic novel in a while. This says, Maggie is 15 and has spent basically every summer of her life at the 100-year-old Camp Bellflower for girls, set deep in the heart of Appalachia. She's from Atlanta, she's never kissed a guy, and she's into the Backstreet Boys in a really deep way. And her long summer days are full of pleasant, peaceful sort of nothing. Until one confounding moment. After a split second of innocent physical contact during a lice inspection, Maggie falls into gut-twisting love with Aaron, an older, wiser, and most surprisingly of all, at least to Maggie, female counselor. But Camp Bellflower is an impossible place for a girl to fall in love with another girl, and Maggie's spontaneous expertise at the camp's rifle range is the only thing that keeps her heart from exploding. When it seems as if Aaron might feel the same way about Maggie, it's too much for both Maggie and Camp Bellflower to endure, let alone understand. And apparently this is a memoir. So it's romantic and devastating, brutally honest, and full of humor. See, now, why y'all gonna make me cry? Coming of age stories, especially with like young queer kids, always gets me, but it being a memoir on top of that, I'm probably gonna lose my mind. But C has never steered me wrong in terms of book recommendations, so I'm not even mad at it. I will be reading it. Hopefully, like, after I'm currently doing the Mafia Romance Readathon, so hopefully after that's over and I finish some books that are on my currently reading list, I'll be able to pick that up. The next two, these are books that I know next to nothing about. In the case of one, I know absolutely nothing, but they keep on popping up in terms of ads, on my Goodreads, on my Storygraph. They get recommended to me, and nobody recommended them, but because they come up so often, they're stuck in my head, and I want to read them. So the first one is Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. I, for some reason, which not only have I not read this, I've also not read Gone Girl, and apparently this is the author for Gone Girl. I also don't know how, but I've managed to never get a spoiler for Gone Girl, so I have no idea what that novel is about either. But I really wanted to pick this up. At one point, I did take it out at the library before, and I never got around to it. So I'm gonna, like, pick it up and hopefully read it this time. That says, Libby Day was 7 when her mother and 2 sisters were murdered. Okay. That threw me off. I genuinely didn't know what this book was about. So, Libby Day was 7 when her mother and 2 sisters were murdered in the Satan sacrifice of Kankakee, Kansas. She survived and famously testified that her 15-year-old brother Ben was the killer. 25 years later, the Kill Club, a secret society obsessed with notorious crimes, locates Libby and pumps her for details. They hope to discover proof that may free Ben. Libby hopes to turn a profit off her tragic history. She'll reconnect with the players from that night and report her findings to the club for a fee. As Libby's search takes her from shabby Missouri strip clubs to abandoned Oklahoma tourist towns, the unimaginable truth emerges, and Libby finds herself right back at where she started, on the run from a killer. Okay, wow. I hate back and forth timelines. I love things to be linear. But in the case of a story like this, when we're talking like murder mystery, like past coming back up, especially like in terms of like losing your family, I'm into it. I want to read it. I want to be just a little bit confused. So I want this back and forth with timelines. Also, I'm shocked because I didn't know that this is what the book was about. But now I'm even more excited. I might listen to this on audiobook while I read the physical copy just because I know that'll make it extra spooky for me. I'm hoping that I don't call this, because when I read thrillers and horrors, I tend to call it pretty easily on. Or I feel like things start to become like contrived and convoluted over time of them like trying to confuse the reader. But if it's well written, I might enjoy it anyway. And then my last one, which is gorgeous copy. So I am a sucker for Greek mythology. I never got into Percy Jackson as like a younger like person. So I always have a lot to learn. And these books keep on popping up for me. And I'm always interested. So I'm taking this one off of my TBR because I'm going to read it while I have it out at the library. But I will say, since getting this from the library, have added about 5 more Greek retellings to my TBR. So there will be more books along this line. But this one is by Jennifer Saint, and it's by Ariadne. So, don't know anything about her. Apparently she's the princess of Crete. She grows up meeting the dawn from her beautiful dancing floor and listening to her nurse's maid stories of gods and heroes. But beneath her golden palace echo the ever-present hoofbeats of her brother, the Minotaur. Oh my god, no wait, stop. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm a sucker for Madeline Miller's writing, and I hated Circe, but all the little like side quests Circe like went on, I was so intrigued and wanted to know more about these characters. So now I'm very excited. Okay. So the hoofbeats of her brother, the Minotaur, a monster who demands blood sacrifice. When Theseus, the prince of Athens, arrives to vanquish the beast, Ariadne sees in his green eyes not a threat, but an escape. Defying the gods, betraying her family and country, and risking everything for love, Ariadne helps Theseus kill the Minotaur. But will Ariadne's decision ensure her happy ending? And what of Phaedra, the beloved younger sister she leaves behind? Hypnotic, propulsive, and utterly transporting, Jennifer Saint's Ariadne forges a new epic, one that puts the forgotten women of Greek mythology back at the heart of the story as they strive for a better world. Okay, I'm so sorry, because reading that made me so happy. I'm super excited for this. That is honestly a great lineup of books that I've gotten from the library, because I feel like when I rent books from the library, they're hit or miss, especially because I know I don't have to worry about me having spent any money. I can just return them if I'm not feeling them. But oh my god, I need to read this. I need to read Dark Places. I need to read all the books my friends suggested. I'm so excited. If you have gone to the library recently and picked up something that's really good, whether or not it came out like a million years ago or it's a new release, because obviously I don't read things when they come out, please let me know down below. If you're reading anything great right now, let me know about it. I think reading is like one of the best forms of self-care, and I love to read things that just genuinely make me feel, whether or not that's devastated or happy, and I would love to participate in a book that you love. So that's it for today. Thank you for staying here with me. Bye.